Do you think every company needs both a visionary and an integrator to be successful?
To grow significantly, I would say yes. So there's a lot of tradespeople or technicians or whatever. You know, an entrepreneur is just someone who starts their own business.
To scale. If
Correct.
you're going to want to scale.
Correct. Yes, I definitely believe so.
How do you, so if I was going to just like put a button on a visionary would be more of a creative mind, more of a long-term strategist, more okay with risks.
Totally.
Maybe a little like...
Have no clue of time.
Yeah, right. Maybe almost like apathetic towards risk. Like it just like risk doesn't, when they have a vision of what they want to achieve, like risk is whatever.
We'll make it up.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
It's a cost, right?
Yeah, and then an integrator is more of a doer. Like they like being, they generally more like maybe putting to action.
Manage doing.
Manage doing.
They don't have to do it all.
Yeah.
But they're inspiring. And so I'll tell, here's what we're going to do. And people go, yeah. And then my integrator will say something like, oh, I get it. I'm like, I said the same thing.
Yeah.
But I think because our energy is often so high. So even I've had employees go, everything's so urgent. And I'm like, but I told you to get this one done tomorrow, this one done in 3 weeks, and this one whenever. So how is everything urgent? Well, you're so passionate. Everything seems urgent. I'm like, that's not my problem.
Yeah.
Now, it is, obviously. But to say, okay, are you clear? We're just brainstorming. Or this is, I just wanted to talk about it. Let's document it and let's wait. So, so to answer your question, though, if I'm a baker or, a pastry shop, I can have a nice little business and I don't need to scale or grow.
Yeah.
So
but an integrator specifically would be characterized as someone like, so for a visionary that feels when we have the freedom to think and strategize and have ideas
and connect with people,
like we get life, like it gets us excited,
oh, yeah.
right? Like for example, like the other day I had an idea for a podcast bootcamp. I'm like, this would be perfect. This would fit the person that can't quite afford this, but I get a group coaching. And then I did a big presentation yesterday and we got like 8 bootcamp people right off the bat. And I'm like, yeah. Right. And I'm like, oh wait, now I got to build a bootcamp. Right. Hence comes the integrator at that point to maybe help me kind of like, here's high level. And then would you say the integrator kind of helps a visionary nail things down in the specifics and build up processes and operations? Like, is that kind of really where integrator comes in?
And to be clear, it's the right hand of the visionary. EOS calls it integrator, which is awesome. It's just that great right hand. It could be president, it could be COO, it could be whatever. So and now again, they help to integrate the vision, and a great integrator can help be a part of that vision and not be freaked out by it.
Yeah.
So to a few other things is I just have safe space with my integrator to go, what the F's going on? And she, I got it. No worries. Or thank you for letting me know. Or we should do this. To say, okay, that's cool. That's really next quarter. So discernment's a big thing. Allowing me to speak because, again, coming back to chatter, I have a lot of chatter in my head. And if I don't get it out, I go crazy, literally. And so if I can tell you, what if we do this? And then it's like, I don't know if that makes sense, but, or how come we didn't do that? And then it's like, well, it's not that big of a deal. But when stuck up here, it drives me crazy. So there's chatter coming from the outside and there's chatter in here. Most of it's not positive. So why not be a part of that conversation and shift it? So, and then back to the integrator thing as well, it is hard to find that. And that's why Gino called it rocket fuel, so as me as a visionary and someone as an integrator, even if you're really organized and you can prioritize, that's great. But we just have to have that right vibe, and it's not easy to find.
Yeah,
and someone who can keep up, and again, someone I can just totally be myself, because otherwise, if I'm holding it in, I am not that good to anybody.
Does that take time? Like, could you find the right person, and then it takes time to get to that
absolutely.
level of trust?
I think it takes a couple of years.
Yeah,
even if they're the right person. But as I've coached probably 250 visionaries and 70 leadership teams. This is a great question. Probably a third of the time, someone on the leadership team or even an executive assistant or an ops person can absolutely step into that role. And they just have to understand it and build confidence. And then they need to be supported so they can elevate. So, and even if it is that person, I think it takes 1 to 2 years to fully, because I might, what did you do? And then it's like, don't take it personally. And I'm still learning on how to communicate and build relationships.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it's because a lot of young entrepreneurs that are maybe scaling, do you think on average an entrepreneur is normally a visionary or more of an integrator?
I would say from the entrepreneurs I've met, I'd say it's 65 to 70% visionaries.
Yeah.
So I think that could be skewed a little bit because those entrepreneurs that are kind of on their own and are okay with it don't travel in the circles I travel in because I need a group.
Right.
So it may be 50-50. And then the people who are looking for support to realize, are you crazy? Am I crazy? You're crazy too? Yay. Okay, cool.
So maybe there's an integrator out there that's a business owner that maybe just needs to hire a visionary.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's stunting them because they are the day-to-day. They enjoy the operations. They enjoy the, grind, so to speak, but they're missing that big picture thinker, right? So, or on the flip side, you have a visionary that has all these ideas. There's so many things they want to do. They don't get anything done because they have 80 things they're trying to do at the same time.
Correct.
They need to find that person that can help narrow them down and then, again, integrate their ideas into the company and be able to say, hey, that's probably not a good one for right now. Maybe we come back to this later. And
well, it's interesting because there's a big thing that's happening is, fractional integrators, fractional CFOs, and there's a time and a place for those, and that's awesome. I don't need a full-time CFO. So if I can get someone fractionally for 2 hours a week and, whatever, that's awesome. I was even toying with being a fractional visionary. And that's where it really is rolled into my coaching. So yeah, I coach life skills and skills of a visionary, but sometimes really my best clients are amazing entrepreneurs who don't totally understand vision. And I don't know your industry, but it's like, and I think I've done it with you a little bit to say, well, what about this? What about this? I don't know shit about what you're doing. But as we talk, a lot of us visionaries, it's like, well, have you thought of this? So I've had coaching clients that I'm like, I'm going to teach you all these processes. And they're like, can we just talk once a week? And it's just to help them, to give them confidence ideas and then just, push and pull a little bit. So yeah, I'm not really a fractional visionary, but I help solid visionaries who are kind of like, there's got to be more. What's my purpose? And so this is what's interesting. Also, we're talking about visionaries, but it's evolving to what I'm calling it is a lot of us visionaries, and I didn't say this before, we're really good at revolution. And so, as we grow, that's evolution, which I learned from Gino. I don't know where he learned it from, or maybe he came up with it. But as we grow as a society, as a person, as a company, as a department, that's evolution. And then we hit the ceiling of complexity. So there's just so much going on. What do? We need people and process. And so that's a revolution. And if we don't bust through that ceiling, we're going to slide back down. And so that's a big aha. And so a lot of us visionaries are revolutionaries because you got to blow shit up. So the podcast business, okay, well, what if you did this? What if that? It's like, whoa, okay, hold on, that's interesting. And so when I was coming up with another term for visionaries, it's evolutionary entrepreneur. And so it's allowing myself to evolve and things to evolve. I'm a high quick start. I get bored quick. I mean, even with my book, I've been coaching people and people are like, you have this most amazing system. All of the teaching tools are recorded. You have this and you're off trying to do something else. I'm like, yeah, and it's like,
yeah,
okay,
I know.
Slow down and let it evolve. And so as I've shared that with people, people are like, well, I'm a revolutionary. I'm like, yes, you are really good at revolutionary, but that's about I'm blowing up shit I don't need to. And things that are working just for the sake of blowing shit up.
Right.
And I've been,
you need something new, like you need like a new, it's almost like a drug. You're like, we need a new fix. We need something new.
Well, it's interesting when I was coaching and I got my name Coach Bob from coaching my kids as they were growing up. And so I'm a halfway decent coach. And one of my assistant coaches said, Bob, you're so polarizing. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? He's like, well, you're so good at getting people to like you. And yet when someone isn't in integrity, I just jab them, and I get that sense of humor from my dad. And, that it's like, if you say something stupid or you're hypocritical or you do something that I don't think is right, I'll jab and I'll create humor out of that. And everyone laughs, and even the person I'm talking to, but they don't understand why. So I'll take down that other coach. And I've done that in both my daughter's teams and my son's team. But that's, that's a lot of energy, but I get off on it. I mean, I love it, but it's like, okay, I don't need to do that. And even with I Matter for Kids, our nonprofit, we had dealing with the bureaucracy of the school districts and whatnot. And I was just like, oh, they're looters, like from Ayn Rand, they're stuck, they're bureaucratic, it's like, they're doing the best they can. And so that's part of my evolution, is not to just keep blowing shit up, but why not understand where that high school administrator is coming from or that other coach and to appreciate them. And so that's been a huge part of my growth of not judging, not just, trying to prove you wrong and I'm going to get you back. It's like, what is that? That's a waste of energy. So again, to stay elevated and not be in fear or sadness or shame or whatever. So I'm just really learning to make peace with more and more people and just slow down, get a massage once in a while, take a break,
Relax.
go hike, right?
Yeah.
And that's a learning thing for me. I'm literally, I gotta be going. It's just like, okay, so to start my day each day, it's like, well, as soon as I have time, I'm gonna learn how to meditate and do that. It's like, okay, well, when's that gonna be? When you're on your deathbed? Don't wait for the heart attack or stroke or whatever it might be.